one of the other things I did, I'll just mention, that I'm so proud of. In 1973, I saw NBC did a two-part Frankenstein adaptation called Frankenstein: A True Story. And it was produced by Universal, and it had an all-star cast of James Mason, Leonard Whiting, David McCallum, Jane Seymour, Sir John Gielgud, Sir Ralph Richardson, Agnes Moorehead. I mean, just the most incredible cast. And at that time, it was the highest budgeted TV production in history, and it was the highest budgeted horror film in history. And it aired in November of 1973. I was 16, I guess, at that time, and was completely blown away. So that following summer, as I was telling you, I got my parents to send me to London. Not only was I seeking out, Hammer Film and Vincent Price and all these other people, but I also wanted to meet people who had been involved in Frankenstein: The True Story, and I got to meet Jane Seymour. We went out to dinner, and I interviewed her, and I met Nicola Paget, who played Elizabeth Frankenstein in it, and I met Margaret Leighton, who's a great character actress, who played the woman that the creature meets at the Opera House, and her husband, Michael Wilding, who was also in it, who played the father of Elizabeth Frankenstein. And so I interviewed all of them, put it in, and I put Frankenstein: The True Story on the cover of my fanzine, Bazaar, in 1974, in the summer of 1974, about 6 months after it first aired. Okay, so there was another fanzine that started right around that same time called Little Shop of Horrors, edited and published by Dick Clemenson. And he and I, never met each other in person, but we corresponded, and we both had a love of British horror and stuff. And flash forward 40 years, he knew of my love of that film, and he wanted to do an issue that covered the making of it. And he said, "Would you want to guest edit the issue?" And I said, "Yes, that would be the labor of love of all labor of love." And so I did. I guest edited the issue. We got Mark Maddox, who's here as a guest, to do the triple fold-out mural cover for it. I think it's the greatest piece of art he has ever done, and I'm very happy that I'm the proud owner of that original artwork, which is about this big. It's gigantic. And I got in touch with Anne Rice because she had gone on record that Frankenstein: The True Story was the movie that inspired her to write Interview with the Vampire, and I got her to write the foreword. And we, Mark Gatiss, who was, produced Sherlock and plays Mycroft Holmes on Sherlock and all of that, and is a huge horror fan himself. He wrote a whole essay about the queer subtext in Frankenstein: The True Story, and that's in the magazine. And I wrote a huge article on the making of it. Interviewed Jane Seymour again 40 years later to the month, and David McCallum and Leonard Whiting, who'd never been interviewed about the movie ever, and Nicola Paget, and all these, as many other people as I could get who were still around alive. I interviewed James Mason's grandson, who is gay, and talked about the James Mason character, and it was actually based on Dr. Praetorius, the Bride of Frankenstein, and that character was one of the early gay representations in cinema. And so he talked about all of that in the essay that I got him to write, and the son of the late director, Jack Smythe, was a teenager and went with his dad to London for 6 months with his dad, who did the movie, and every day after school he went to set. So he had a whole bunch of great stories to tell. And I got Michael Sarrazin, who played the creature in it. He's no longer with us, but his brother wrote an essay. It was just the most incredible issue ever, and I'm so proud that the Rondo Awards this year gave me an award for Best Article of the Year, and Mark Maddox won Artist of the Year again, and I think primarily because of our cover. And anyway, I have copies of it available at my table, and I got paid. I don't get a dime. I did not get paid for it. It's a total labor of love, and I encourage anyone to check that out. And even if you don't like the movie, even if you've never seen the movie, the behind the scenes of the development of this was the most amazing thing I've ever, every time I found out something new, I couldn't believe it. Francis Ford Coppola begged Universal to direct it right after The Godfather. John Borman wrote an impassioned letter to Lew Wasserman, the chairman of Universal, that he desperately wanted to direct this movie right after Deliverance. You know, all these incredible people. Marlon Brando was going to be in it. You got to get it. All right. Anyway, come and check it out. I'm very proud of it.
Awesome. So you're selling copies of it?
I am selling copies at my table. Yep.
Sounds great. Well, thank you everybody for coming.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I'm going, actually, let me promote this. I'm right now at 2:30, Jeff Burr, who's another director, and I are going to be talking up a storm some more. right over here.
After that, how long are you going to be at your signing table so people want to come in and see
I'll be back there at 4 o'clock after this next little thing, and then we'll be there until closing. Cool.
That's it. You get your one shot. Then there are thermoform resins, your HDPE, all of this stuff. You heat it up, it gets soft. You pull it over form, and it cools off, it keeps that form. You heat it up again, it gets soft again. That's their one trick. As opposed to these guys, heat these up again and bad things happen. So if you wanted to form something like this cup, you would make a mold, or you would cast off this cup. You would put it on a table about yay big with a bunch of holes drilled in it into another box hooked up to a vacuum chamber. You would heat up a sheet of plastic, pull it over it, and then you suck all the air out. Which, because you're dropping atmosphere on it, will pull it into the shape and you let it cool. It is another cool trick. You can usually pick up dental formers, which will give you about that much working space. Oh, hands work, there we go. That much working space. There, you know, $50, $100, Vulcan plots. What's he calling his website now? He's got a really nice set of build plans for about a 1 foot by 1 foot unit. Very nice. Buildstuff.com has plans for a 2x2 up to a 2x4 unit. If you've got tens of thousands of dollars, Belovac will sell you one. You know, you can go to industrial auctions. That's another cool trick, the Star Wars stuff. Lots of lightweight armor, vacuum formed. Although you can vacuum form foams as well. The gun holster guys that we deal with, doing all that Kydex stuff, vacuum formed. But let's say you wanted to make a bunch of vacuum formed shells that look like this. Which is exactly what I did. So I took a bunch of shells, landed a bunch of clay, pressed shells into it, made this quick mold. We took this mold, and then we heated up clay, and we did what's called clay press. Poured molten clay in here. Popped that out, so now I've got the negative of this, a bunch of shells tied together on one plate of clay. Took a bunch of pins, T-pins, stuck them in there where I expected the air to be sucked through. Then made another mold ball, poured up, and then I've got a positive. So we started with a positive, now we're back to a negative. So I had a version of this in concrete with a bunch of holes sticking through the back. Because if I were to stick this down and then pull air over it, will I get all these shells, or will I get just a flat sheet across the top? Without those holes in it. I just get a flat sheet across the top. So I had to have holes through the back. And then you heat up, I think I was doing it with foam. You know, heat up a sheet, pull it over, suck the air out, and then I've got a bunch of lightweight, gluable little shells that I can bend. Because have you ever tried to bend a seashell?
They're not very flexible.
They're not very flexible.
Wow.
Making monsters? Okay.
Because they had, now they've started, because it's licensed, they had Shatner up there. He did an appearance there. In fact, he's coming back. He said he enjoyed it so much.
Where was it?
That's up in Ticonderoga.
Ticonderoga?
Yeah, he financed that thing by being an Elvis impersonator. Yeah. So, and just an amazing story. But Big Mignogna, same thing.
Yeah, same thing. These guys have a passion for it. They've recreated the sets. But the first time I went, the first time I went up there,
they were showing that at Wonderfest. They were showing some of those at Wonderfest.
They had it was in this old rundown shack of an old car dealership thing on the side of the road. And we drove up there, and my buddy had go, look, I've seen this web series. He showed it to me, and this is kind of cool. And he goes, I'm gonna go up there and see the set. You wanna come with me? I said, okay, we'll go up there. So we drive up there. We went up through Vermont, which is like houses on stilts on the side of the water. It was like, are you sure this is where this place is? We go up there and see this crappy old building. And we're like, oh my God, this is like, And then you go inside, and then James was there, and he goes, let me set everything. So he showed us where to step up, and then we're basically behind the elevator door. We're just like this. And he goes, he turns on the lights, and then that elevator door opens, and you're like, oh shit. And I mean, it is the Paramount One. I mean, and now that they moved to this other thing, they have it set up the way it was set up at Disney. So it is the full length of the tour. It is every set, engineering, transporter, the whole medical, not just the sick bay, but McCoy's office, all of that stuff.
And they have to have it set up where they can move all around.
Yeah, it's all component.
So they can shoot.
Well, but now that it's a museum, it's not.
Yeah.
So it's all set.
Well, they couldn't do the films anymore after the Paramount debacle with Axonar. And they laid down a whole bunch of rules, and James was like stuck.
Well, I think James could with his negotiation, but he saw an opportunity to go, if I'm going to get out of this, and I already have a relationship with him, there's an opportunity to, what do we do with these sets? And I think that's what it came down to. Because, and James, I've never understood, as much as I like James, how you could be an impersonator of Elvis. I mean, you talk about under scrutiny.
Yeah.
But he would do that. But when it came to the Star Trek stuff, he seemed remarkably thin-skinned and easily offended by people making fun of the episode. You know,
The Elvis Shatner thing?
yeah, like that sort of thing. It's like, you know, because he had to keep the hair because Elvis was.